Hey guys, it's me again. I'm just out here having fun, having this conversation around the Freedom Dividend, and I'm realizing a couple of things, that I get two very common rebuttals or responses, and I think they're just reflexive, not that thought out. And I'm realizing that these two common responses are making me sad, and then they make me super happy. Let me explain. So the two responses I'm getting. First is, how would you pay for it? And that's a great question. And you know what? We have great answers. Andrew has a very detailed video that explains exactly in detail how it would be paid for. So I just send them to look at that video. And if they're motivated enough to try to debate the question, they should be motivated enough to go see the answer. I don't take the time to try to explain it myself. The second one, though, is very interesting. They give me their version. They use different words, but they give me their version of why would we want to pay somebody for free, or why would you want to pay somebody not to work, or some version of that. And that gets me sad, because I realize that many people are viewing American citizens as employees of the nation, or participants in the nation, or members of the nation, but not as owners. The dividend conversation is not about getting paid for work. It's about getting paid as a part of being the ownership of this country. As a citizen, we own this country. You know, if you think of any business, let's just take a restaurant for sake of conversation. We may debate, and we may be valid on both sides in the debate, that the worker that shows up, how much they should get paid, if they should get paid, all that stuff. But what we won't debate is if the owner of that restaurant should get financially benefit, should get some type of pay, whether they show up for work or not. It's a privilege of ownership. So this whole conversation, and what makes me super glad, I told you sad first, right? I'm sad because they view us as members or something other than owners. But what makes me super glad is I realize that once we remind them that this is not a for pay project, it's not wealth redistribution based upon effort, it's just a privilege of ownership, then I think people would be more clear in their understanding of what the dividend is, why it makes sense. And it's kind of hard to debate why you as an owner would not want to benefit from being an owner. Think about that. That's the question I'm going to start asking people that say, hey, well, why should we pay people for nothing? My question is, well, it's not payment. It's just what the benefit of being an owner is. Just like you own a restaurant, whether or not you show up and do work in that restaurant, you still gain financially. It's the same thing. So my question to these people would be, well, why don't you view citizens as owners? Can you imagine if the only privilege that the founders of Apple got for creating that company and making it successful and thrive was the right to go in and work in Apple? That makes zero sense. We need to start thinking about this dividend as a privilege of ownership. We need to remind citizens that in the United States, the citizens own the country.